Alright. So, today's emotional response, because that's what it's about today. My emotional response to Batman v Superman. Taking a completely different step because I was doing video games only. But I wanted to talk about Batman v Superman because of how influential it was to, basically, on a metafictional way, it really brought me to tears. The Martha part. Okay, so I'm not really gonna justify anything, okay, because I don't really need to. Like, for my own personal thing, I think I always take things out of the context of where I got it from. So I never really take things at the level it's projected at me in other places, because it's always going to come from somebody else's experience and place in the world and understanding. So when I saw Batman v Superman, it actually hit it home because the xenophobia, the thing that it was showing how Batman was something I had done maybe when I was 20 years old. And it's something I still do, obviously. I project something different than what most people do, which isn't a projection. So the things that I am are not a projection upon the rest of the world until people start maiming me for the same things. So Batman in Batman v Superman felt maimed by what Superman was doing because he was doing better in the world than what he was. Because he could. See, Batman didn't feel that way anymore because of the people he lost, either because of them turning bad or because of having to continue a fight consistently. But that really isn't the point. The point is, you can't glorify yourself higher than what you're being put into. I always think of it like a line in the poem I wrote that recently about being like in heaven and hell, or in like being in that place of what you think is God-given versus what you think is bad. But everybody else is going to have a different projection of it. It's not going to feel the same way to somebody else. So, like, for myself, what I've learned, this is a big apology. And not in the essence of, I need to apologize to get everybody on my side again. No, I don't. To be honest, I don't need to get everybody on my side. Like, that isn't the point of anything. If I'm silent with you, it's because you've made me a silent partner. You've made your opinion as the choice opinion in the life that you choose and the way I'm going to be around you. So with Batman v Superman, I felt that sort of thing with what Batman was essentially to the story. He was impacted by what the media was transitioning to towards what Superman was. He wasn't totally Superman yet. So we can call him the Superman because he is literally not Superman yet. He's the Superman. He's this big essential character that's happening, but we haven't decided anything for in the world. A lot of this stuff is by context and by corroboration, meaning that not everything was said in the movie. Big mistake. Essentially, I'm speaking to myself when I'm saying this because it's not philosophy. This isn't psychology even. This is something I felt in the movie, emotionally. So because of me feeling it only, I can only say this. Essentially, I can look back at my past, 2020 hindsight, and get a better idea of that because of Batman v Superman. So I appreciate that. And I'll tell you, the Martha scene was the big scene to me because it showed me one thing that it needed to show me, which was how my past is like that stake he was going to put through Superman. And what he was going to do right there, what Batman was going to do right there, was essentially the biggest problem in his life. So a big event can make you feel that way about the rest of the world, or not. I think my big event of something that made me feel a certain way about the world and wanting to feel that way was probably getting stalked at the end of high school, having friendships die out that didn't really need to. Essentially, they were passed on. That's all. So with Batman v Superman, it kind of felt like the same thing. That this is just something that's passed on because those kind of big changes in somebody's emotional credence in life isn't important, because if emotions are turned off, you're not going to care much about the story. Essentially, if the story's about the emotion and working on that, which what Batman was doing was xenophobia to the biggest extent, blame everybody for everything. Let's fix this problem. But you can't fix the problem that all humans do. You can blame a certain race for it, you can blame a certain card for it, you can blame a certain blaming party for it. You could do anything you want. But at the end of the day, if all humans are doing that, essentially you're saying, we got to stop this from happening. Good luck. Because overall, it's not going to change. Those things in that way won't change. That'll be up to the individuals whether they want to live in the same way as the people before did, or whether or not the people in the older position use their wisdom that they've carried on in their life to separate from, meaning that they won't just live in their distinguished experiences. They'll understand that someone else is going to experience it differently. That doesn't always happen. And that definitely showed between Batman and Superman. Superman's story, on the other hand, was broody, because that's how he felt. You know, when you're questioned and your abilities are questioned, you put yourself into question. Is that what you want with a superhero? Because that's what essentially this story was telling us, that if a super person was around, if an existing element in society was around that was separate from us, why wouldn't we treat it just like that movie showed? That's exactly how it would be treated, because how we think of things now is based on the media, mass representation, the popular opinions, the popular norms. Superman was the exact opposite of that in his regular self, but the saturation around him in society really formed that idea of like, what should I do? Should I even be part of this society? Should I even try to build myself accustomed to it? End of the day, he still tried. And essentially that story was a focal point of what people should really relate to. I want to be myself in this society, but I can't be, you know? Who doesn't go through that? I can tell you right now, I still do, because the peer pressure is still around me. It's like a fog in the mind. But people choose to give that peer pressure because they think their element of success is everybody else's. And it's not the same. Otherwise, we all would be the same exact thing in this world. There wouldn't be different careers. There wouldn't be different jobs. There wouldn't be different nothing. There couldn't be different ways we could go through life. So essentially, what people mostly try to communicate is, the way I did my journey is the way you should do your journey. But should is not the same as choice. And end of the day, most people who found success in certain things are always going to consider someone else a failure because they're not finding their success in their certain thing. So because it may be niche, it may not have the same success rate, doesn't mean it never will. You look at so many fashion designers and so many actors, directors. Some people became those things at 40 or 50. And there is success with them, but the difference is you got to be okay with everybody else not representing for you. Because at the end of the day, they won't. They'll never represent you, and they don't want to. So Batman v Superman, as I represent it, and I'm just telling all of you, I could cancel out the fact that it wasn't comic book represented. But I'm not going to be going towards that, because my thing about it is that Batman and Superman was a representation of the xenophobia in the world right now. And somebody actually trying to live in this society and be part of it. And not be against it. But the thing is, when you're something different from it, no one's going to look at you and say, oh, you're part of this society, you're part of this world, you're part of United States. It's not going to be looked at like that. Because if you're not fitting into the social characteristics or caricatures, there's going to be something missing from that they're not going to feel fulfilled with. Like something like Lex Luthor's character was in the story, where he felt like he felt abandoned because nobody protected him from his dad abusing him, from his dad making him the way he was. But the difference is that that's gone from his life. And instead of actually embracing that, he takes it out in the world and says, you should have saved me from this. But essentially, sometimes the people we meet, we're not going to meet them at the right time for our lives to be fixed. Or at least from what was projected from the past. But onward, it could work perfectly. It's a matter of how you're going to take that next part in your life. So to me, Batman v Superman really spoke to a big situation that happened to me when I was in 2007. I might as well just say it. I got mad at everybody. I was a don't trust anybody mentality. I thought it would work for me. I tried. But it doesn't work for me because I never felt taken advantage of or stabbed in the back. And I'm not saying that out of celebration. I'm saying that out of one thing only, essentially, that needs to be said. Not all of us are going to play victim to things and fall down for things. But sometimes sometimes we fall off because we don't want to be representative in that situation anymore. Because we tried our best to say what we needed to say. But not getting accepted for our overexposure or no filter or whatever you want to call it, already shows the kind of embrace we have in society. Obviously, people are not ready for people just living their certain way, even if it's off from the beaten path of what most people try to do, which is rebel. I don't, because I've seen so many people rebel and fail in certain ways and not essentially find their whole characteristics in that. So why would I want to do something when I want to feel complete in my life? I'm not going to do something that takes me off that path. I'm going to take that journey, the long haul journey. If that's with somebody, that'd be great. If not, like that movie Superman, I'm going to try my best in both situations to build that. Superman really showed that he wasn't trying to be perfect. And he wasn't part of that perfection. What he was I'm just going to try. I'm just going to try to be myself in this world. That's basically it. Batman v Superman. Loved it.